Greetings, viewers. Let us expose the greatest lie you were ever taught about human history. Textbooks claim farming gave us time to settle down, invent religion, and build grand temples. But hidden beneath the sands of ancient Turkey lies a dark secret that rewrites our history. Imagine a massive stone temple built thousands of years before mankind learned to plant a seed. Welcome to Gobekli Tepe, the first sacred monument that birthed all early human religions. Journey back to the final ice age, over 11,000 years ago in ancient Anatolia. The world was frozen and ruthless, forcing nomadic tribes to constantly hunt for basic survival. These ancient hunter-gatherers possessed no written language, no metal tools, and no pottery. Every single day was a brutal struggle against starvation and deadly primal predators. Traditional scholars believed these primitive nomads lacked the structure to build anything great. We were told that finding a stable food source was the only way to spark a civilization. They assumed that early humans simply chased wild herds, living in temporary fragile shelters. But these desperate tribes were hiding a massive secret that would shatter modern archaeology. Driven by a primal fear of the unknown, they looked up at the terrifying dark skies above them. A profound spiritual awakening compelled them to gather and create something impossible. They chose a barren limestone plateau to construct the absolute center of their entire world. Without wheels or beasts of burden, they began shaping the very bedrock into towering monuments. This monumental effort required thousands of men working together in perfect ancient harmony. It was a coordinated labor force never before seen in the entire history of humanity. They were not building a simple village. They were forging a massive gateway to the ancient gods. Fast forward to the modern era. The year is 1994 in southeastern Turkey. German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt stood on a dusty hill, brushing dirt from a strange ancient rock. He uncovered massive T-shaped limestone pillars, perfectly arranged in large concentric rings. These colossal stones, weighing up to 20 tons, stood over 16 feet tall in the desert sand. Schmidt realized he was not looking at a mere settlement, but a highly complex ancient temple. The sheer immense scale of Gobekli Tepe dwarfed Stonehenge by over 6,000 entire years. Using only chipped flint tools, these ancient builders carved the hard limestone with pure precision. They used wooden levers and thick braided root ropes to drag these massive blocks across the dry land. Imagine the sheer agony and sweat required to move 20 tons of solid rock without a wheel. This required a highly organized society led by powerful spiritual leaders and shamans. How could simple nomadic hunters orchestrate such a massive ancient engineering miracle? If you were a primitive hunter with no farming, how would you feed thousands of starving workers? The logistical nightmare of feeding this massive workforce completely changed human history. They hunted wild gazelles and wild cattle to near extinction just to keep the builders alive. The detailed diorama of this excavation reveals layers of complex engineering and deep devotion. Every pillar was perfectly balanced, standing as a silent witness to their dark ancient faith. Klaus Schmidt argued that the temple was a sacred pilgrimage site for many scattered primitive tribes. They gathered here to worship, to feast, and to appease the terrifying unseen spirit forces.
Set us free.
The sheer bloody ambition of this project proves that religion was their absolute highest priority. It was not survival that drove them together, but a shared dark obsession with the supernatural. The deeper the archaeologists dug into the earth, the more unsettling the ancient evidence became. These stones were not just blank pillars. They were covered in highly disturbing ancient carvings. A closer look at the pillars reveals a terrifying menagerie of deadly wild creatures. Instead of passive prey like deer, the artists carved massive scorpions, spiders, and wild boars. Giant vultures with aggressive outstretched wings dominate the central pillars of the ancient circle. Snarling cave lions and venomous snakes are etched deeply into the cold, unforgiving limestone. These beasts were not carved to bring a good hunt. They were summoned to protect the sacred space.
From the coming death.
Or perhaps the carvings were meant to seal away a terrifying ancient evil lurking deep beneath. The T-shaped pillars themselves resemble abstract human forms, with arms folded over their belts. They stood as silent, faceless gods, watching over the bloody nocturnal rituals of the shamans. Under the flickering torchlight, the shamans danced in a trance, smeared with black mud and ashes.
Purify our souls.
The shadows cast by the fire made the carved beasts seem alive, twisting in the dense darkness. But the most chilling mystery of Gobekli Tepe is not how it was built, but how it ended. After thousands of years of worship, the entire stone monument was intentionally buried alive. The builders deliberately hauled thousands of tons of dirt and rubble to completely hide the temple. Why would a society spend centuries building a sacred masterpiece only to erase it from the earth? Were they trying to protect their gods from invading enemies, or hiding a terrible dark mistake? Some experts believe the site became too powerful, demanding more blood than they could provide. Others suggest that a sudden climate disaster forced them to abandon the entire region completely. The act of burying the temple was a monumental effort, almost as difficult as the construction. They sealed the doors, packed the stones with earth, and walked away into the mists of human history. For over 10,000 years, the greatest temple of the ancient world lay forgotten in the dark. It slept beneath the soil, guarding the ultimate secret of how our early civilization began. Klaus Schmidt believed this burial was a final, desperate ritual to put the angry ancient gods to rest. The massive dirt mound preserved the pillars perfectly, freezing a single moment in deep time. This perfect preservation allowed us to finally read the message they left behind in the ancient rocks. It is a profound message that challenges the core foundation of everything we thought we knew today. The ancient records carved into the stone tell a dark story of desperation, faith, and survival. They proved that the human mind was capable of abstract thought long before it mastered the soil. The temple was a focal point that pulled humanity out of the wild and into the modern age. It was the burning desire to worship that forced them to adapt and quickly conquer their environment. The profound spiritual hunger of Gobekli Tepe directly triggered the greatest revolution in history. Here is the brutal truth that completely reverses the modern theory of human social evolution. To keep the temple builders fed, the hunters could no longer rely on chasing migrating animal herds. They needed a steady, massive food supply near the sacred site to sustain the heavy daily labor. desperation forced them to domesticate wild wheat, planting the very first seeds of agriculture. They began to corral wild sheep and cattle, turning from nomadic hunters into settled farmers. Farming was not a happy accident. It was an urgent necessity to serve the ancient religion. Religion birthed agriculture, and agriculture eventually birthed the massive glowing cities of today. The temple required immense sacrifice, transforming human nature from the wild into the divine. Without the spiritual gravity of Gobekli Tepe, we might still be wandering the frozen plains. The foundations of modern society were built to appease the terrifying, unseen forces of nature. We owe our civilization not to the invention of the plow, but to the deep fear of the dark gods. Religion gave us the tools to build the world, but this divine power came at a very high cost. The desire to worship eventually morphed into a desperate need to control the universe itself. While this temple brought life, another religion across the ocean demanded absolute destruction. Join us in the next episode as we uncover the bloody, terrifying rituals of the Aztec priests.
The reckoning is nigh.
This dark truth forces us to question everything. Did ancient religion truly build our modern world? Share your thoughts below. Did these temples trap humanity in endless cycles of dark sacrifice? If you enjoyed this mystery, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more hidden truths.